Morning, so
Morning, Gladys.
by the powers invested in me, I declare the meeting open, call it to order. Yeah, and there's agendas down here, so let's, Wally didn't get one, I was sitting there for 15 minutes.
Could you pass one to me?
And Brian's going to do something a little different. We're doing the usual sign-in for the roll, but Brian's going to literally call it.
Do we say present?
Yeah, present or here. Yeah, it's just for the committee members, and we'll make a note for the record. Yeah, it's kind of what we're doing with the other groups. So, Larry Dorsey?
Here.
Karen Waligorski?
Here.
Bob Morgan?
Here.
Errol Waligorski?
Yes, here.
Mary Cartwright?
Here.
Jill Roberts?
She said she might get a little late.
Oh, okay. Katie Olson?
Here.
Lindsay Fluelling?
Here.
Yeah. And then also for the record, visitors, so Maureen Hogg, and then
Paul Gibbs.
And Gladys Fortune.
Are we supposed to do something with
Cookies?
it? Yeah. Bob said,
Yeah, the cookies for veterans.
right.
Thanks, Gladys.
Yeah, so welcome to Gladys and Paul, and nice to see Maureen again. So, and then in case you missed it last month, Lydia is here too from the town. So the town is represented by Brian and Lydia. And so we'll have the reading of the minutes from the last month's meeting.
Historical Commission meeting minutes, January 18th. The meeting was called to order by Chairperson Larry Dorsey. In attendance were Commission members Mary Cartwright, Larry Dorsey, Lindsay Fluelling, Katie Olson, Jill Roberts on the phone, Errol Waligorski, and Karen Waligorski. Staff Karen Snortland and Lydia Yecki, thank you. And town board member Laura Schlodzinski.
Perfect.
All right, way to go, Karen.
Members introduce themselves to Laura, our new board liaison. The minutes of the November 16th meeting were read. Mary Cartwright moved they be approved. Errol Waligorski seconded the motion. The motion carried. Next, the agenda for the meeting was approved, moved by Mary Cartwright and seconded by Katie Olson. There was no public comment. The treasurer's reports were given as follows. Karen Snortland reported that the historic donations account currently has a balance of $815.50. Karen also reported that there is $5,000 remaining in the 2019 historic preservation account. There's an outstanding bill for work on the diorama. Debriefings were discussed as follows. There was a good turnout for the museum openings both on November 1st and January 5th, approximately 15 people at both. There was a good turnout for the Christmas potluck and all agreed it was great. Thank you to Larry and Cheryl Dorsey for hosting it. Members had a meeting on December 11th to talk about community outreach plans and also to approve a version of the Lost Superior book. It still needs an errata sheet update and the map to be added. Members were pleased with the book samples that Daryl McCool had brought and moved to go forward with the order for them. Larry attended the Boulder Heritage Roundtable meeting on January 17th. The Carnegie Library, Harbeck Bergheim House preservation, and a park at the entrance to Boulder Canyon were discussed. The cataloging, filing, and donation screening committee did not meet the past 2 months. Jill Roberts reported on the oral history video QR project. She has gotten scripts from Larry, Mary, Bob Morgan, and Denzel Ackland. Karen Waligorski reported that there has been no correspondence the past 2 months. Karen Snortland reported that she and Brian met with the cemetery consultants. They are awaiting budget numbers. Work is expected to begin the summer of 2019. Katie reported on the historic photos planning for the sports table. She passed out the latest flyer and asked members for comments. Members did give her some suggestions at the meeting. She will proceed with the work. Larry reported that Ron Kaiser is continuing to work on the industrial mine diorama. He emailed the latest pictures of it to us. Everyone likes what is completed thus far. Lindsay Llewellyn led a discussion of the long-term planning priorities from her list. Some of the items are being added to our 2019 work plan. Karen Stortland led additional discussion of the Lost Superior book. Jill Roberts proposed that we have a minimum suggested donation of $15 for the book. That way people may add more if they wish. Wally moved that we go forward with that suggestion, and Katie Olson seconded the motion. The book will continue to be sold at the town hall, at the museum, and at the booth on 4th of July. Members agreed that we should make sure that the school libraries have a copy. Members did a final review of the fourth quarter 2018 work plan. New business. Staffing for the February 2nd museum openings was discussed. The next Boulder Heritage Roundtable meeting is planned for February 21st at the Boulder Public Library. The CPI conference in Denver is scheduled for February 4th through 7th. Members wishing to attend need to let Karen S. know, and also which sessions they would like to attend. The schedule can be found online. Both Larry and Lindsay will be speaking at sessions there. Next was a long discussion of our 2019 work plan, with items being added and changed as appropriate. Karen S. made the changes as they were discussed. The work plan will go to the board for their January 28th meeting. Everyone was reminded of the committee training taking place in the town hall from 9 to 11 on February 2nd. Some members will attend while others will be at the museum opening. The next ANFRAM meeting is February 18th. We need to look at the website for dates and locations of upcoming meetings. No invitations have been sent out yet. Due to time constraints, we will hold commission leadership elections at our February meeting. Karen S. will check on the availability of the town hall boardroom for our spring program in April. We are possibly looking at the third Thursday. Wally moved that the meeting be adjourned at 12:08. Lindsay Llewellyn seconded the motion. Our next regular meeting will be February 15th at the town hall.
Thank you, Karen. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Okay, a motion to accept them?
Make a motion that may be accepted as read.
Okay, Bob's moved, second to Bob's motion,
I'll second.
seconded by Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I thought both of those motion carries.
He strikes again. Okay, is there a motion to approve the agenda? We need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll move on that one.
Okay, Jill moved to approve the agenda. Second?
Second.
Second from Katie. And, all right. Okay, so we're following this new format here, so we're kind of getting used to it. So right now then we have this number 5 is the open for public comment. And so Gladys Horsey is here with us today, and she has something to share with us.
They were here before I was. They have something to ask.
I don't think it makes any difference. She'll be next.
All right, well, Patrick and I had a meeting about Cookies with Veterans arena that expanded lots and lots and lots of different ways. Sorry, I have to have my glasses to read my notes. One of the things that I brought up was that I would like to see the Cookies with Veterans group work with the youth group. And that opened up the whole whole arena to a lot of things. Patrick wants to see the youth group expand and into the civics arena. And that is a very, very wide area. One thing that we discussed was the Historic Commission, that
Hello, everybody.
that they get involved with the youth group, because getting back to the civics, he doesn't feel that the youth group knows the history of the town. So of course we discussed the book Lost Superior. We discussed a book I published about the veterans. There again, there's just a wide gamut of exposure that we could offer to the, or you could offer to the youth group. Patrick also wants to start creating a list of veterans that lives in the town of Superior. And then that can be expanded also to the arena that veterans could do things. And with the youth group is one of those. Then the legends issue came up. Bob, you and I are considered legends of this town, among some other ones, but
I think that's a compliment.
For a year.
but we, since we're involved, why we're more outstanding, I guess, I don't know. Anyway, Patrick also wants to use the legends with the youth group. So there was lots of things about expanding this. So I was left that I would come and talk to the Historic Commission about these things and the other legends in town. And if the March meeting of the youth group is too soon to get anything organized to do with them. So we're looking at the April meeting of the youth group. The youth group meets the first week of the month. Tell me the day.
The Wednesday.
When, it's Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay. So the first Wednesday of every month, the youth group has their meeting here. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. And it'll be April 3rd.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Anyway, I'm, at this time, I don't know what we would have you come and talk about or do or whatever, because Patrick and I are going to work this out. But at least it's on the agenda. We want you to know that April is something that we're looking to have some of you participate in, and with the youth group. And what time is that meeting?
I'll double check right now. I believe 6:30, but
Okay, and it lasts an hour or two?
I think so.
Okay.
Yep.
So anyway, something else that Patrick has wanted to do ever since he came here as Parks and Rec Director is get the graves marked in the cemetery. Another one of the things that Patrick and I discussed was the Wreaths Across America program. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that or not, but Wreaths Across America program is you send money into this organization, and I can't tell you right now the exact amount, but then come Christmas time, wreaths are put on veterans' graves. Fort Logan, any cemetery that has veterans. Heritage Roundtable has approached the Rotary Club to possibly do something about that issue in Boulder, but we can do it here in Superior. So that is one thing that we're also going to be working on, because we're going to have flyers at the 4th of July tent to, if anybody wants to purchase these wreaths for the veterans. And it has to be done early. It can't be waited until September 1st to pay this, because the money has to get in to Fed or into this organization and make sure that they get to the veterans' graves. So we need those wreaths across America on our veterans' graves here in Superior. And Shockey is one of the veterans that I have proof of in doing my research. Anyway, that's something else that we discussed. There was just a lot of stuff, a lot of issues, projects, tasks, that we, discussed. So it's a matter of getting them sort of organized, but here again, I was to come and talk to the Historic Commission and tell you, we want you involved, and definitely with the youth group, there's gonna be a lot of things coming up.
Now, the youth group, just
Okay,
bring
the
me up
youth
to date
group,
with it.
okay, the youth group, and verify this, because I haven't been to any of their meetings, I just know that they exist. The youth group, it was created as an advisory board, the same as the Historic Commission, for the youth in Superior only. And youth, from, I think it's 10 years on up, is that right?
Grades 8 through 12.
Okay. And they meet once a month, the same as any of the other advisory groups. They have projects that they work on during the year, like they have treats for troops. So if you have any leftover Halloween candy, you bring it to the town hall, you take it to one of the high schools, and then they send this candy in, and the town pays for shipping this candy to Treats with Troops, and that's a national program the same way as Reads Across America. They are involved in the sock program, right?
Yep, the Sock at Home campaign, so they collected socks for the homeless.
Right, and so if you have, you buy socks, or if you have extra socks laying around, but preferably the new socks, and it doesn't matter what size socks, but the mayor started this program a few years ago, and the youth has taken it over, that you buy socks and bring them to the town hall, and then there's a program in Denver that these socks are distributed to the homeless. So they have several different projects like that.
Okay.
But they only have maybe like 3 or 4 projects all year long. So there's all these other meetings that they don't really have anything that they're involved in. When the project was created, or when the commission was created, it was going to be a babysitting. If someone in town needed a babysitter, they could call the youth group and they could babysit. Well, that's kind of, you know, phased out, because these kids are smart. I'm telling you, these kids are whips. They really are. And so anyway, that's what the youth group is.
Okay.
And
What's the age group again?
from 8th grade through 12th grade.
Oh, 8th through 12th grade, grade,
yeah.
okay.
Anything else you can say about the youth group that I?
So it does meet 6:30 to 8 on Wednesdays.
Okay.
The first Wednesday of the month, which is very.
When?
6:30 to 8 p.m. here.
On the first Wednesday of every month.
Wednesdays.
So, it's been really a great group. And if we had a church in town, it would be an excellent group to be through this. But it's really doing very well. There just has not been as much education and community involvement that there could be. And so Patrick wants to try and get that expanded. And of course, his history of our town is something that definitely should be
Well,
explained.
thanks for bringing us up, bringing that information into us, Gladys. And so what do you see our roles being then? We're just
Well, when Patrick gets more of these issues that we talked about, when he gets more of them cut and dried and into going and stuff, and decides what will happen for the April meeting with the youth. So right now, it is 1, to let you know that we want the youth and Historic Commission to work together, and 2, put April meeting on your schedule for the youth meeting, because somewhere along the line, we're gonna call and ask 1 or 2 of you to come, and we're definitely on. The legends are definitely on for the April meeting, Bob.
So are you envisioning it being like a history talk, or are we like brainstorming with the youth ways that we can be more interconnected?
Just probably to start off with was just to have them ask questions, introduce the people that's there, and see if they have any questions that they want to ask, and answer those and then maybe just give a brief history about, with the Superior History book. Patrick doesn't feel that they know about the Lost History book. And so it's a way to expose them to that. So it's just, actually we're flying by the seat of our pants. I'm almost flying.
Well, thanks very much. Good going, Gladys.
Maybe we could put it on our agenda for next month to talk about it,
That would still give time to prepare if you wanted to go to the April meeting.
Would be neat for them to see the museum too.
Well, and that's another thing of Patrick's, is that he feels that they need a tour of the museum.
Yeah, so maybe
because of
instead
the
of
fact
going
you
to their
have the
meeting,
second
they could-
grade tours, but you don't have the high school kids, the youth group, the older ones. And so it's anything that we can expose them, any event that, or in any way we can expose them to the history or anything to do with civics. Patrick's thing is civics.
Yeah, we've talked about maybe trying to do like high school tours and things like that. So I think it would be really neat to have like a smaller group of youth that we can talk to and see what they think would be appropriate.
How many usually go in this youth group to this meeting?
I'm not sure of that. I haven't been to a meeting recently. I believe on the council there's about 15 or 20.
Is that what they call it, as the council?
Yes, the Superior Youth Leadership Council, or SILC.
Oh, okay. All right. You got that?
Silky.
So yeah, and as far as us legends, we can tell them whatever.
So there are 25 on the council.
Okay, all right, so there's
25
one.
kids.
So, yeah, that would be good if you could talk it over, but the tours is definitely one thing that Patrick wants to pick up.
Okay.
My thing was just some way to expose them, and I'm telling you, it just mushroomed once we sat down and started talking about different things.
Well, that's what brainstorming is all about, so your brain's got all stormed there.
Because it will not only be, the Historic Commission, the veterans is another arena that will expose to the youth group. And I think those, the veterans, the Historic Commission, and the legends, those are the three major things that, so that leaves several programs right there that we can work into the agenda of the youth group. When they don't have anything, because basically it sounded like they don't have anything on until Treats with Troops, because that's their next big project, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not involved with them, but anyway.
And I think maybe this idea of the wreaths, identifying the graves, that could go over too to our cemetery committee. We know we've got a committee working on developing the cemetery.
And so that's something that Patrick definitely wants to get done, is get those graves marked up there. And that's something else that we discussed, that to make temporary markers, there is no reason why the youth group can't get involved in some way of making temporary markers. I mean, they're small, and once they have the information, so that's a project there again, to tie the youth committee and the historic commission together.
Okey doke. Thanks, Gladys. And sake of getting through the agenda, we'll thank you for coming and move on to Maureen. If she has something.
Yes. Well, Brian, I needed a status on Karen Snortland's program. I haven't been in touch since October. She indicated the migration was on the horizon, and she wanted to migrate first before we put in the changes on the Historical Commission website. So I wondered where the program was. Is there a summary or a schedule?
Yeah, I know, yeah, Karen's been out of the office this week, but I know she's working on, working with Melissa. I know there's a big, town website kind of overhaul, upgrade. That's still gonna happen this year yet. I don't know the timeline for sure, but, obviously Karen's also incorporating some of the, this is kind of more for good of the group, but Karen's working on incorporating some of the, advisory group training, Granicus, that program, and how we create agendas and meeting notes. So that's going to be incorporated on the website upgrade as well.
Yes, well, please let me know, because that's the first step. I can draft and have everybody approve and have it waiting for when she can upload it. Yes, but it helps to have a schedule. It's important that everybody on the commission read and review and maybe add things. You never know what's missing.
Yeah, probably the best thing is, I know she had been communicating with Karen on this, so to continue to do that, and then when it rises to the point to get on the commission's agenda, we'll put it on a future agenda for sure.
Thank you. We've got two Karens here, Paul, Karen Snortland, the coordinator, and Karen Wall, of course, yes.
Totally confusing me.
Yeah.
That's all right.
As long as she gets to those. Is that all's on her mind then? Oh,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah, she just, she must do her part, so.
Excellent. Okay, and then in public comment, Ross Morgan has something he wants to share.
Hi, I know some of you, but not all of you. I live just about a half a block west of the Historical Museum, have for 35 years. And I have two friends from Illinois who harvest lumber on their own land and build beautiful custom-made furniture. And one of them has a mobile woodwright shop, 19th century woodwright shop that he carts around the country with him sometimes. And I would love to set up a presentation where he could set that up next to the museum in May. We've already got a schedule picked out for May 18th. I don't know if that's a regularly open day for the museum or not. It's a Saturday.
First Saturday,
Yeah,
we are open.
right. And so I don't know if it would be possible to open the museum again on that day, but they're planning to be in town.
Excuse me, is that a weekday or a weekend?
It's a Saturday.
Saturday, okay.
Yeah, I'd like to pass around these pictures for you guys to look at. There are, I think, 6 of them. And this is a really wonderful exhibit that, in case you don't know what a woodwright is, woodwrights were the people that were master artisans, not just carpenters, but artisans, who could build everything from wagon wheels to furniture with all handmade tools. Well, I mean, everything handmade by old tools. There's no power tool involved, no screws. It's all wood joinery, and it's just a wonderful exhibit that would really educate a lot of our young folks about the history of how some of this stuff in town originated. And I would love to be able to set it up in the park next to the museum. I'm not sure if you guys are the right committee to come to, or if I need to get a permit from the town. Beg your pardon?
Park rental and reservation process right online.
There wise, yeah, I mean, typically.
There's a way to
Yes,
reserve
Bill.
what Ross was talking about.
Okay, okay, well, I need to get educated on that.
But I think we went through as part of the museum for special openings, how we support through that process, and it's dependent on volunteers and or town being available.
Uh-huh, okay.
I would think we could open an extra day. I mean, I think
That's
this
it,
is
I think we've
terrific.
already lined up how we can do it, we just need to get that ball rolling.
And
Well,
get a
that's
lot of
great.
publicity to bring people in, because, you know, it's not something you see very often.
Yeah, you don't.
He doesn't charge us for this, right?
Well, that's the next question. I'm looking for some creative financing to help pay his travel expenses. He doesn't charge, but if there was any funding available at all for a few $100 to pay his gas money to get out here, that would be great. Or we could just set up a donation bucket in front of the display and see if anybody drops $1 in there.
Well, I think now that Ross, we have the idea, that we could, as the commission, see about how we could piggyback on this and make it a special opening day and
Well,
so
how do you
forth.
do it in conjunction with the spring walk is what came to my mind.
Yeah, we have our spring walk on the,
After
whatever, the first Saturday is. We'll have
What date is that?
May 4th.
4th or 5th, I think.
Yeah, the fourth.
Okay.
Yeah. And if it'd be done then, that'd be a really good.
Well,
piggyback there.
we've already got a schedule where they're coming for the 18th.
Okay.
We're actually going to have a little house concert in my backyard, and you're all invited. Because Steve Clark, the guy that has the Clark Farm, who's Tim's partner, Tim is the woodworker in the woodwright shop. Steve Clark makes these fantastic benches and tables himself out of wood that he harvests on his own land, and Tim uses it too. And I think they partner up on building the furniture. But anyway, Steve is also a musician, a wonderful deep voice, folk singer type guy. And we're going to have a concert in the gazebo in my backyard later that day. So,
Got your permit?
I will get it, Gladys. And you're invited, whether you want to come or not.
Well, we also have two big toolboxes in our basement full of hand tools, you know, we could put up a display or something.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
But, so why don't you let us,
And I'd be glad to help set that up.
yeah, okay. Why don't you let us contemplate on this and put it on
Okay.
the agenda and see what we come up with.
All right. I can leave those pictures with you if you'd like to keep them.
Do you feel a need for that? Anybody?
Where do they come in from?
Illinois?
Illinois, okay.
Yeah.
And for the sake of getting through our almost usual 2-hour agenda, I feel a need to move on. So we'll take this into consideration, Ross.
All right,
And,
thank you, Larry.
And I will get over to your place and get that information.
Yeah.
One of these days.
Stop by my shop anytime.
And, Ross has a great garage over there, so
Here's
it's
the-
fun to look around in.
And thank you
Here's
again
the
for the
folder.
sewing machine,
I'm gonna
Ross.
put them back in there.
Thank you again for the sewing machine.
Oh, you're
Everybody
welcome.
admires
And that's
it.
what I was just telling Larry, that I've been promising for a year to get the information on the history of it. So I will get that to you this week.
That would be an interesting.
Thanks, Ross.
Yeah, okay,
Okay, good to see you.
sure.
You want to leave those, or am I taking them with you?
Yeah, I'll leave them.
Okay. So, you sure you want to go on them for something else?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got Darryl McCool helping me build a brochure for the
Oh, okay.
benches for sale.
Okay. Very good. Any other thing coming up in the public comment area?
Excuse me one second. Who do I need to talk to about getting a park permit?
Oh, the town, we go to the town. Tell us.
Okay,
Yeah, talk to her on the way out, or there's a website.
I will.
We learned that one the hard way.
We,
Which is why it's the first thing
Yeah,
that
we
came to
did,
my
yeah.
mind.
Good
thinking, Jill.
That's not meaning to be bureaucratic or difficult.
I
It just really
understand.
resonated.
yeah. Okay,
What you need? Right, yeah.
so, go.
Thank you, everybody.
You bet, glad to see you. Okay, so we get down to the treasurer's reports. So, Mr. Morgan?
Oh, well, it's the balance in the Historic Commission account here is $815.50.
Okay.
Same as it was last meeting.
Uh-huh. Mr. Meyer? You're getting formal now with this formal.
Yeah, the current balance in the historic preservation account is $4,432.24.
All right. Thank you. Old business. Debriefing at the town meeting, town board meeting when I represented us there and didn't have to speak. I think the only question that came up was Laura took care of it, so. But for your information, Laura, we also have those Lost Superior books out here
Okay,
for sale at the counter.
great.
Otherwise, I guess they didn't have any questions, at least not while I was there.
No questions came up after either.
We had a very low turnout at our last opening. I think Danny dropped in and that was it. So only one. But we got all the books put on the shelves.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so we got the shipment of 200 Lost Superiors are now shelved in the boxes. Mary and Karen want to talk about the committee training? I see it's on the agenda.
I put it on there just because we went. I don't know that there's much to report. It was a good session. We got to meet people on the other committees.
No, good treats. That's in the record.
Did you bring us a cookie or something?
Yes, Lydia is
From
an
February
artist
2nd.
par excellence.
What?
Yeah.
Cookies from February 2nd.
That's right. Okay.
Oh, it
We
was
brought back-
worthwhile.
We brought back the books for the other people to read and sign. And I guess how you're
Oh,
gonna
that's right,
handle
gotta
that.
sign that, huh?
Brian
just-
can handle that.
Yeah, in a nutshell, and I think a lot of you guys have received the email from Karen Snortland, but yeah, it's just a matter of when you have time just to read the guidebook and watch the video, and then when you're done with that, just peel out the back page.
Did you get one, Jill?
No, there it is.
Actually, I got it.
Got it.
If you want to save it, I printed it at home.
Oh, yeah.
And took care of it,
Okay,
so.
yeah, that's fine.
Did you punch little holes in it and put her?
No. But we can save it for somebody else and not burn more trees.
Okay.
So yeah, just peel out the back page, maybe, then you can give it to me next meeting, or me or Lydia, so.
Well, Lindsay, how was your experience down at the CPI conference?
It was very bad weather.
No kidding. You were the same day, right?
Yeah,
That
same
Wednesday.
time.
Expensive to park.
Well, I
Oh, you didn't
like
park at the
$6
hotel?
or something. No. I parked at the art museum. Yeah, I talked about the mineral rights project that I did on the industrial mine. And
You were the speaker?
yeah, it was with the CU Denver group, so there are several speakers, 5 of us, I think. So I just gave a little presentation on that. I at least find it really interesting. So.
Well, I made it there too. Now, this is Colorado Preservation Inc. Saving Places Conference, and I'm passing around, just take a glance at all of its paraphernalia there. So if I could have gotten a hold of my co-presenters, I would have bowed out of that, because that was that snowy Wednesday last week. And I couldn't get a hold of anybody, so finally I got on the bus. Luckily, I got there eventually. It took over an hour on the bus to get to, I didn't get to Union Station, then I had to get up to the hotel from there. So I got there in time. And a real good response, I think. And then I put out in the email, if anybody wants to stick around and see the little short 15-minute PowerPoint I did, you're welcome to do so. An hour. Was yours the panel, Lindsay, or is it? Yeah. So I was a part of 3 panelists and 1 moderator, and went very well, I thought. I was pretty pleased with it, so I can show it to you later if you want to. Did I miss something? Okay, good. I usually miss something on the agenda, so. Catalog and filing did not meet.
Nothing current, right?
Nothing current. Jill?
We have progress.
Yes, we do.
So the draft of the script is out. It needs to be scrutinized and then scrutinized again. The basis is the scripts that Mary and Larry used during the second grade field trips and the Superior historians. That is what I found to be the best resource for writing that. It runs about 3.5 minutes when I read it, yeah, give or take. And I'm starting to map out pictures for the background. So when you get a chance to read it, right, you know, kind of this is Superior, maybe an old town shot. We talk about the formation, the Hakes and then the Grassos. So we're gonna want some pictures there. And then I'm trying to do it so if you're looking around the park, so we start in the back at the creek, so, and the flooding and some of the history there because it brings in like the farm building where we've done the repairs. So we can talk to that and bridge it. So we don't need to go through some of the pictures. The lost historian pictures were corrupt. When I opened it, that's what happens when you wait too long, right? So Brian and I are reworking getting those again.
Okay, I have all those too. I have all those.
That's right. I just need a jump drive to download them again. Okay. It just wouldn't reload for whatever reason.
You have to stop the corruption.
You want all of them, or you don't know what, you don't know?
Right now, I want all of them because there's some things that come up that I think showing it could be teasers, like we talked to the mine being formed and open and drilling the hole in the main area. Being able to bring some pictures into that because it takes a little longer to read than just sitting at one picture.
So either way, if you want to get it, Brian, if not, I can, whatever.
Yeah.
Do you have them all on a jump drive?
I don't have them on a jump drive, but I could put them in Dropbox or something.
Yeah, just.
I don't, so I can, someone can.
Follow it on.
So that's sort of the next step is I'm just going to paste together some pictures on an iMovie, let people look at it if we're in the right direction, then I'll go to Dave Dugdale and say, how do we spice this up?
Cool.
So we're making progress there. But I think there's some natural lead-ins. I know have read the script to, if you walk 2 miles up the road, you come to the old camp, right? And you can tease them to that and then putting it up at the end for those.
And then somebody will have one for the mine camp.
Yeah, the mine camp and a little bit about the mine house, right? And that starts to bring in the video of Denzel. If you're walking in between, would you like to listen to that? I have you recording your milk route. Yeah, but you could listen to it while you're walking and people were doing that. So I think we're starting, by doing that as a starting point, it's a long-term plan, but it is positioning it better than I thought it might 2 months ago.
At some point, Bob and I are going to make a script for what we talk about in Asty Park with the second
That's
graders.
what we need.
We haven't done it yet, but we're going to put something together so that,
and what
not only for that, but in case somebody wanted to take one of our places in the park during the second grade field trips.
Good idea.
And I have Lindsay recorded the walk a couple of years ago. That was the jump drive I gave her back, which makes good notes.
Did you do that?
But the
Did I sign a
quality
release
of it,
on that?
we would need to actually be standing close by and recording versus standing off in the crowd.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of kids in the background. Good things, right? You want kids in the background engaging, but you can't play that as a recording. So, so the idea is right, and then getting information and tidbits, especially when we get to the mine camp, is really good. So we're starting to get that.
And Paul, what we're looking at here is putting a QR code on these signs, and so that people can get the
So you
get the
put
audio.
your phone up to it, and
visual too, huh?
you get a a video of more pictures of what it looked like then, based on where you're standing. So.
Well, good going, Jill.
Maybe it's vignettes, is probably the right word.
Oh, that's a good word.
Yeah. So.
I like that word.
I wonder if, are people still using QR codes? But either way, I mean, I think
Either
we
way,
can
whatever
figure,
the link is, that
figure it
you
out.
put it up there, you scan it.
Whether it's on the
whatever.
website, something, or
Yes.
some other technology. I just don't know if
Yes.
everyone's using that anymore, but,
Yeah, I don't know what they're.
Well, that's a
but we'll
good point.
figure out whatever it
It's
is.
still new to me.
Yeah, I'm still using it.
All right.
I think people still use it when it's there. I don't think it's being put out as much
Yeah,
push.
it used to be on every.
Well, and
yeah.
what you've got is, you're at this location, right? If
Yeah.
you've got locations of, I personally don't use locations on my phone because I don't want to give that much out. That's just me being,
Yeah.
cyber paranoid. But if, you walk into certain things, if it's tracking your location, you would get, oh, it's around me, push the button. Yeah. So good progress.
Keep up the good work.
And so please proofread. I'd love to.
When do you want that back by?
Well, I would like it back by the next meeting so that in the April meeting, we can have a premiere party and do of the draft. That would be my A goal. So, and if you get it to me really fast, we could do that in March. So, but we pop it up on the screen somehow and again, start that blowing holes in it.
But gently.
Gently, poking holes in it. Okay, so.
Thank you very much. Karen, anything new in the correspondence department?
No, there was none in the last month. Are there any thank you notes that need to go out?
Can't think of any.
Okay.
Cemetery restoration project. Right.
Yeah.
Actually, do we need to do something back to Karen for putting the training together?
What do you mean by
I don't know if
that?
we need to or not. I mean, we all gain, I think are gonna gain a lot from it. And I know it's our job, but at the same time,
Oh, we mean,
just a quick note, just Karen Snortland, not Karen, on putting the training together. I don't know, you were there in person, I just watched the video.
I don't know if that's necessary,
Okay.
because all the committees were there, I mean, almost all the committees. But I will if everybody wants me to.
doesn't look like a big deal to me.
Okay.
I don't think you need to.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll consider it if you want to, though. So cemetery restoration project.
Yeah, I think we're finally gonna get moving on that, after a long few months. So we have the conceptual drawings. Karen just received the cost estimates for some of the work up there, some of the landscaping and some of the stuff that kind of spills outside of the fencing as well. When she gets back in the office this coming week, I imagine she'll get back in touch with the cemetery working group. So Mary, Karen, Wally, Larry, and then I think Daryl McCool and Darcy, can't think of her last name, but she'll get in touch with you guys, and then it's just a matter of kind of looking at those drawings and some of the estimates, the cost estimates, and seeing what you guys would like to do this year. Obviously, there's $30,000 budgeted this year for the cemetery restoration, so I think it'll get going here soon.
So that could include the plaques if we have the youth do something on that?
Yeah, I imagine so, yeah.
I think we should put the plaques and the wreaths on our brainstorming list, yeah.
Yeah, can be part of that.
So, review that again. You're gonna have
So yeah, just in a
by
nutshell,
next-
Karen's gonna get in touch with the cemetery working group, I imagine this coming week, since we actually have the information to move forward. So, kind of bring you guys together again and see what you want to do. As far
Will
as
you
giving-
guys present that to all of us too, at some point?
I think we should, yeah.
Now, on the
Maybe
plaques they're
March.
talking about putting on the veterans' graves, is there any way they could get a hold of the VA and, they a lot of times will put plaques on veterans, I mean, they do on veterans' graves. See if there'd be any way they could come up with something on it, or is this something we want the youth group to come up with strictly on themselves?
We basically wanted the youth groups, the VA can be done, but we can get it done 10 times faster than going through the VA, especially if the government is closed.
But are you doing markings for every grave? Are we doing some type of map with the, you know, some type of, or do we don't know?
Well, Gladys, I think you're saying putting some kind of marker on the unmarked graves, right? Because they have, all the headstones are on some
Right,
now. So
right, and so it's basically the unmarked ones, yeah. But the wreaths can be to any of them
Everybody.
that are veterans. Now, I only come up with one, but I don't have one veteran, and that's shocking. But,
We've got the 2 Civil War guys in there.
but I don't have the complete list of names of who's there to do the research, to see if there's any other ones.
I can get that to you.
Yeah, we do have that.
Okay, well then email me that list and I can dig around and see if I can come up with any other ones that we don't know about.
Did I answer your question?
Not really.
Okay. Hit us again then.
Is part of the cemetery restoration going to be clearly marking all graves, not just headstone, but like you know, doing a little plaque with them, or we don't know that?
We haven't talked about this before.
Okay,
In our brainstorming or our committee meetings, they haven't talked about it. So
Okay.
this
Or a little, or a
new
map,
page.
or something, right? A plaque that has a map.
We also have a
or
map
something.
of the graves too.
I think that would be nice to have some type of,
You can write that down.
maybe not an actual like plate that comes up on every single one, but something that when they're looking out at the cemetery, they can easily say, you know,
Yeah.
in the right corner, it's
Like
this
a little
person,
board
like the map that you have, but just,
This is grid A2.
yeah,
And
exactly.
it is this person, and it's a marker. I don't know where it would be sensitive if you're putting, what is it? I mean, part of it sounds like it's headstones and gravestones on someone else's family's loved ones.
Yeah, no, and that's why I
Yeah,
don't
and
mean
that's
a
where I'm
marker, I mean a
confused. I'm kind of
map or
confused
something.
on what do they mean by a marker versus what do they mean by a marker?
Well, sometimes, you know.
And that may
when
be in Karen's plan that we haven't seen.
Well, again, I think this is a new subject, so it's probably not. But so,
Okay.
what I'm thinking of, and see Gladys if we're on the same page or not, and that is a lot of times, they'll have, before they have a headstone and a grave, they'll have a metal, piece of metal, sign sticks in the ground, and it has the person's information on it.
And if the
Correct,
family has
because
a,
Patrick wants to have every grave through some program, survey, whatever, but he wants every grave identified. And then once those graves are identified, by then to put the temporary marker on.
That might be the Find a Grave thing, because that's a pretty popular genealogist.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So we'll be meeting soon, it sounds like. Sports table photos, Katie.
I don't have much of an update. Karen and I are working on confirming a meeting date with TJ, the new chamber director.
Oh, yeah, chamber director.
Supposed to be in a week or so, but we'll see. And then to just kind of sell the idea to him, to them. And then from there, just finalize kind of the program and what we want to do, so that's it.
Terrific.
So we can get it off the agenda.
So you mean
You know
meeting
how I
with
don't like
TJ
things on the
soon?
agenda for long.
So I was thinking back on your flyer you wanted to send out to businesses, that maybe that could be done through the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, exactly. That we would kind of do a bunch of different channels, the chamber, the town could maybe help and do a bunch of things. Yeah.
is there a
Can
limit
I-
on the number of pictures you're
Can I
getting?
say something about that? You need to force, and I mean force, the town to dig the old photos out that was on display at the Centennial. Now,
Don't
the
we have
town
all
has,
those photos? Or what do you mean?
the town
Physical
has all
photos?
those photos in storage. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, there's no blank sense that those photos can't be dug out and provided.
But this is a new photo project that we're working on? That we
new
would
photo with
reprint.
old photos?
We'd reprint old photos.
So where are you gonna get the old photos?
We have all the digital files of the photos.
I'm not talking about digital files. I'm talking about the old photos that was used at the Centennial. Do you
Yeah.
have those photos?
Are they the same ones that are in the old
I don't know,
Superior
because I don't know what you have.
book? I don't know what the Centennial photos
But
are.
there's old photos in storage with the town that was on display at the Centennial, that the Historic Commission needs to have those. It's a matter of digging them out, and the town staff can do it.
Do we know where those are?
Town staff does.
Yeah, I mean, I'll chat with, probably Martin Toth knows, I mean, I could.
Why would they be different than the photos that we have though? We have like 200 photos that
Well,
we have
let's,
access to.
there's a
So-
gob of
Let's
them.
look
We need
into
to
it. see
check
if we-
into
Yeah, the thing you do is check into it.
Because that's, I'm not aware of that either, so.
But for this
Of course,
project,
nobody wants you to know about it.
for this project, we are reprinting from digital files, Gladys, so.
Okay, well,
Different
whichever
project.
ones, if they're the ones from the Centennial, then you have a lot of old photos from town. If not, then they're, exist.
We'll look into that, because we have all the ones that are in the Law Superior we have.
There's more than that.
I hope so, because we could use more.
Yeah.
The industrial line diorama is moving right along. I sent out the email yesterday, last night, I guess. So if you didn't see it yet, take it's in your inbox someplace. And if you need to see a photo, I've got one. Did you keep the file?
No, I don't have
Well, here it is. So there's the photo, which isn't very clear.
Did you see that?
Yes.
And so I sent out an email the other day about how we're going to get it from Ron Kaiser's house to here.
So I have a different,
Oh,
it's bigger than I visualized from it, and that's because I don't do well with numbers. It will fit in the front door, won't it?
yes.
I looked at it and I remember seeing the sizes, and but then I saw it and I'm like, this is big. And I thought,
think
about the front, and you were saying about delivery and opening, I'm like, it will fit in the front door, do we need to ship it in
It's
pieces?
32 inches deep, so.
Deep, but,
So it should, yeah.
but with,
Yeah, and you had that on an email somewhere with the
yeah, I remember it,
measurements.
but I didn't-
I don't
yeah.
think it's that
I
big.
think it's 42 inches wide, but that's coming up.
yeah, so we got a 32 that should work, got it. But I had that first thought, so I'm like, that is majestic. And because you talked about the opening, it was what popped into my head, and I didn't have a chance to look up, yeah.
Details.
I know. Well, but then you said transporting, and I'm like, do we need to transport it in a few pieces and assemble it indoors? And
And I don't think could be possible,
If
so.
we make a run for it, it'll fit.
That's right.
we'll get a new tour on our
As fast as
historic
possible,
building.
yeah.
Okay.
Those are really not in
No, I'm glad you brought that up though, because we've been,
We want to do a quick.
Right.
But.
take the door off or something like that.
Put them out where they
My house
should be.
built.
It's a good example.
I don't know. But that
I
was
hope they're
when I bought it, I was like, this
32 or
is
36 inch doors, so.
Larry, were you able to get back to him about the fan house?
No, I didn't get back, I did not, no. And the houses are just sitting on there now, they're not in place, so. Is this these are nice, is this the one I handed out today?
No, that one's there.
Yeah, who made these? Oh, yeah, well, that's a nice picture, better thinner than I have, I guess.
When's it gonna be done?
Well, I don't know, because he's in the home stretch, I think, because when I was there yesterday, he just cut all those doors and windows on the mine camp houses. So what we need to think about is where we want to have those located, because obviously it's not the proper distance. That's looking pretty good. That's a great picture. Any other questions about that? It's coming.
I think it looks,
That's right.
I think it looks great.
Yes, he's doing an excellent job.
The word that came to mind was majestic, and that's when I went to the door going,
Well, I'm gonna get out the old tape measure, but I'm glad you brought that up. But again, I think I copied all of you on the email about maybe having a grand opening or a grand exposure or something like that. And then,
how much of it is diorama?
then it might be safer to rent one of those U-Haul trucks from wherever, and so it'd be enclosed and sitting straight up, so.
This way.
Where does he?
Just think about it.
Where is he located?
But just down in Arvada, it's only about 15 minutes from here, so.
Yeah, you can get like a Home Depot truck for an hour or something. They've got U-Haul style ones.
Yeah, they got that $19 an hour kind of thing. Once you get over 1 hour, I think then.
It's like 75 minutes.
Yeah, it changes.
I just use
It won't fit in the back of your SUV or Molly's, probably.
Not standing straight up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we can, Brian said they'd probably be able to make something work to use a town truck, the town staff, but still it's got to stand straight up and be uncovered, so. All the
Anything will blow off has to be taken out.
yeah,
So is it
that
worth
include
renting
all
a
the grass and
trailer?
gravel and coal and stuff like that, that's the scale model stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, very good. Lindsay, we need any more follow-up on volunteer planning?
Thinking it'd be a good idea to talk about how we want to structure maybe putting together a volunteer mailing list, or talked about getting a different guest book for the museum, putting out calls for volunteers, and then coming up with like a calendar of events or something that we can hand out to people so they know about the future things. I was thinking maybe like in a bookmark form or something like that, like on a stiff paper. We could just have like a list of events and then say, looking for volunteers to come to museum openings and historical commission meetings and participate with the commission.
We could do that like, what's a bookmark, you could have that on the counter here at the reception.
Yeah, and then just like something to hand out at the museum
Hand out at the
as
museum,
well.
yeah.
So I feel like I could put together a calendar of events through like the middle of the year, and then we could just print off, 25 copies or something and see how they go.
Is there a template to make bookmarks?
I can look into that.
Probably is,
Happy to
aren't
do
there?
that, yeah.
Would you like to do that?
If that sounds good to everybody.
I think that sounds real good.
And a neat stack of them for the 4th of July booth, too.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. And by that time, we'll have
And
an
they sure
update
by
for the
then.
rest of the year
Yeah.
or something too.
But yeah, if we had like a format where we can just insert new dates,
Yeah.
it'd be really easy to print off new ones, maybe in January and then again at the end of June or something,
Good idea.
each year.
Okay,
So yeah, I'll work on that and send out an email about it.
excellent. Brian, is there anything more on the 2019 work plan?
Yeah, nothing other than, obviously you touched on it, but I do have hard copies if anyone wants a hard copy of the final, okay? Just something good to keep in mind when some of these new programs and ideas pop up that aren't on the work plan, so. And maybe we should try to revisit this quarterly, so I'll just pass them around, so.
You want paper?
I want paper. I want paper.
Yeah, that's
I never
unusual.
want paper. What happens when I show up in person?
By the way, it's nice to see you in person, Jill.
What's that?
It's nice to see you in person too.
Were you shocked when you got my email?
I did, I was.
I'll be there, I'll be a few minutes late.
Not that phantom voice coming out of the Batmobile or whatever that thing's called.
Well, I would have been on time had my car not died in the parking lot.
Really? Well, the spring program is all set up for April 24th, and to review, that's a Wednesday rather than a Thursday, because somebody's using the boardroom on Thursday night. So, a reminder of our topic is Mountain and Mining Women in the Colorado Women's Hall of Fame, focusing on people such as Mary Miller of Lafayette, Clara Brown, Central City, Augusta Tabor, and more. So, Alexa has sent me her bio, and then she's also sent me some visuals. So, maybe you creative people want to put together a poster for this.
I can do the poster. I think we did it last year, right? It wasn't
Seems
too,
like it.
we
Yeah.
could just do a photo or something.
Yeah,
Um,
there's 4 or 5 photos, so you make a little collage probably and
Yeah.
put some names on to them, yeah.
I can
Okay,
work on
thanks,
that.
Katie, I appreciate that.
And Katie, we could probably, depending on when you get that done, we'll put that in the town newsletter.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Or Z-Blast, yeah.
Yeah, because this is February, so March, April, you know, we need to, I have something in the Superior Sentinel for March, and, so.
Wait, do you have specific photos you said you want to use?
Yeah, she sent some photos.
Okay,
of
great. So
some
will you
of the-
just forward that along to me?
Yeah, sure will. But I don't think she included the name, so I follow up on that, so we have a guess who this is contest.
Famous one.
Oh, okay, so,
The Women's Hall of Fame website is good too, so.
So after Wally exposed me last month, when I made this mistake on our farm equipment, here's a new draft, and it's just purely a draft. And so Melissa Miller and I had a conversation, and she doesn't see any problem with, so far we're talking about how to get to the industrial mine, and starting to think up some signs for the farm equipment. And so she said there's no problem from her standpoint, it's just a case of working with Brian and Martin, Brian and Patrick about how it fits into their budget. So I said, what about doing something like a 9x13 sign? And she said she'd like to make it the same size as the smaller mine car signs, which I think are about 9x13. So there's my latest draft. That picture's just a placeholder I took off Pinterest. So but that's what I'm thinking of. So I didn't get any reaction from you on the proofing that the directions to the mine site. So take another look at those. I handed them out last month. I got some more if you need them.
I need that because that's part of like the script. You saw my placeholders, then you're not going to write it twice.
Okay, so. I
That
can
section
find
in
them.
red at the end.
Yes.
You can email it to me,
Yeah. Because I'd kind of like to get that.
yeah, but that's the closing of the script, if you remember the red section.
I don't remember that, sorry. I'm elderly.
You don't even know what elderly is yet.
Not that far behind you, Martin.
I really like this photo because this pretty much depicts some of the ways that, and especially I think it could be that big piece of machinery we have down here at Grasso Park, of how that was ran. Although they did use tractors too, but this is a steam engine, and I've mentioned that a lot of times. And so,
yeah, you know, those earlier days, they used those steam tractors. Well, I look at all those pictures, just think of all the safety issues with those great big long leather belts, you know, they're probably 20 feet long. You should say the belt's probably 40 feet long, and just whipping around there, and somebody's arm goes up and around through the pulley.
but this here depicts where the wagon's pulled up, and we have that big table that comes in, will fold out in front, and that's basically what they're feeding into here. And it has all those knives and stuff in there. People used to get caught up in those pulled in there too.
Yeah, so take a look at the text, and then I think that's a pretty good picture. It shows more the tractor than it does the thrashing machine.
Right.
So really, that's something we can play with.
Yeah.
Okey-doke. Now where are we? Okay, I made up some copies of the upcoming Shootout at the Superior Depot presentation I'll be making at Niwot. So if you'd like to take any of these and hang them up, that'd be great. I'll probably put one up at Whole Foods and Panera. If you have any other ideas, maybe in your shop or something. And they've offered an honorarium. Usually I get an honorarium when I do the programs for the Railroad Museum, and then I just turn that over to the Railroad Museum. So my first reaction was, I'll go just keep it because you guys need it for your budget. Then Kathy Kaler suggested, how about make it out to the Superior Historical Commission? And so I think I'll take her up on that. So ask town staff then, which budget would that go into, and how should the check be made out?
Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, I'm thinking we'll probably go in that historic donations account.
That's what I'm thinking too, yeah.
And I think, Larry, I don't know if you noticed, we do have this on new business number 4
Oh.
here. But, I mean,
Oh,
that's,
sorry.
Yeah,
So we did.
um,
Oh,
that's fine.
I had it on there for the honorarium, okay. Oh, I guess we're taking care of number 4 in new business.
No problem.
I know why I did that, because we talked about it last month, so it's really old business. So, and then you're all invited to attend, by the way, but it costs you $5, so if you're down at the old Grange Hall, in beautiful downtown Niwot. Aye. And, okay, any questions on that?
Under, I don't know if this should be under other old business, but we had talked last, meeting about library books to the schools. And I did contact Superior's, librarian. They don't have a book, and she was really excited about getting one. And how do they not have that, I mean, well, we need to do it, so it's a great idea.
Yeah, that was a great idea.
And I said, pass it along to any other librarians, just because I was hoping she could handle it. I didn't hear from anyone else, so I think we need to
Honestly,
keep doing that.
If I showed up with 3 books at El Dorado.
Yeah, you
they
just
would
give it to them.
Take it
Exactly.
graciously and be
Yeah,
thrilled.
yeah,
Yeah, you got the reaction I would have expected.
yeah,
So I think it's
she was
just a matter of
excited.
them-
So
yeah.
we just need to decide, do we bring 2 books to each school? Do we bring 3, or do we do the Superior Youth Leadership Council? Do we say, this is something, can you help us distribute it to your schools? It's not that hard, but we just need to, I mean, for me, it's really easy. I can just take it to the library, but I don't have one. So I would need to get some books, but I didn't know if we want this to be a little more formal of a thing, or if we just start kind of dropping them off,
You know,
or.
in all honesty, we got a boatload of stuff on this list.
Mhm.
You and I take them and we get them done.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm at the school 3 days a week right now.
yeah,
Let's get it done and call it an accomplishment and
Yeah.
not create work for ourselves, because we've got a lot of priorities to keep moving
Yeah.
here.
Okay, so you're gonna do El Dorado?
Yeah, are there
You're gonna
books
do
here, or
Superior?
do we need to go, next time we're at the museum, grab them?
Well, there's some here, let's see how many are here, and then I
Yeah.
easier take them out here and I can
Yeah, but
replenish.
Katie and I can leave with them today, and
Sure.
honestly, it'll be done by next Wednesday.
What school are you gonna do?
She's gonna do
Superior, but then-
I'm
I'll
gonna
be happy to do Monarch.
And I'll do.
Okay.
And do you want them, both Monarch K-8 and the high school?
yeah, that'd be awesome,
Yeah.
right?
Probably
Yeah,
so,
okay.
The
yeah.
other one I would cover is Louisville Middle.
Okay,
Why not?
Okay.
I mean,
Sure.
happy to do that.
well, just
Be
like one over
educated
there,
too.
but, yeah.
And of course, there's also Louisville Elementary and what, 2 or 3
Yeah,
other
well, then you get it
elementaries
all,
too,
yeah, that's why I said, you just go to, I think La Superior is more middle and older.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, if it's not local, but I think you hit Louisville Middle, you hit Monarch K-8, Superior, and Elba.
Mm-hmm.
So
And I'll take Eldo.
And I'll take Superior, and Mary, if you'll do
Monarch.
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 At least that'll cover,
Louisville Middle.
and maybe 2 copies? Is that good, right, in
I
case?
think so. We can-
Because last month
can
we talked
afford that.
about one for the history departments, as well as the library.
Yeah, at the high school.
The high school.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Okay. so I
We'll
will-
see how many
I'll
are
do that.
here. Hopefully, if we have up around 10, we can cover it, looks
Yeah.
like. So if not, I don't know if you have time to go over today and get them, or if not.
I don't today, but if I don't make the museum on the 2nd, if someone can grab them, I'll get them off your porch.
Okay?
So,
So I'll be going back.
happy
over.
to go for a walk and pick it up. Yeah, I like having something done and out there and
I
finished.
do too, Jill, I do too.
Okay. Well, we're gonna be open on March 2nd, apparently. Going down to the new business, any other old business? You got that?
I got one thing, and maybe we've discussed this. Back where the farm machinery was taken out along the barn down here in Grasso Park.
Yeah.
I maybe brought this up once before. I was down in there looking around, and there's some boards laying down in there, and I flipped some of them over, and they had nails about that long sticking out of them. Just a heads up, and maybe sometime down the road, we should get rid of that stuff.
Yeah, I doubt if that has any value anymore, does it?
No, I don't, I think that wood's pretty rotten.
Yeah.
I think most of that was from the old barn.
Yeah.
And we utilize everything we could.
Yeah. But I flipped several boards over because there was nails sticking up.
Good for you.
That's all I got.
You're taking a notice. Will the town hall away, or do we need to?
Yeah, well,
put it
our
in
parks guys can, yeah.
Oh,
Get that, yeah.
Okay.
We'll get it.
Okay, so, I guess I'm available for March 2nd. Anybody else?
I'm 65
Try and be
right
there,
now.
Larry, but I won't promise anything.
Right,
My tour director says I'm available.
okay.
I should be available. I'm not sure if it's for an hour or 4 hours.
Anything's always
Yeah.
welcome.
So,
Yeah, I might be, so I'll.
Okay, we'll be okay then, that's all counts. Oh, anybody else gonna go to Anfran? It's not, Monday morning is supposed to be snowy, but, it's only not too far away. It's down in Westminster at the Westminster Historical Society. I've RSVP'd, so, guess I'll be there.
A neat old house.
We covered number 4. I made a mistake. I didn't bring in something. The mayor sent me that email about what's going on with the antique poster he donated. I have it out in the car. I forgot to bring it in. Do y'all remember it well enough to be able to pass judgment
Yeah.
on whether it should be framed and restored and framed? Is that the terminology
I
used?
don't think we talked restored. I think we talked framed, so it was preserved, because it was an interesting link to the past, but I don't remember anything on restored.
Maybe preserved,
Preserved
and framed.
and possibly
Yeah.
like preserved in a basic frame.
Right.
So we had the option with it. I don't remember anything about restoration on
That's
it.
how I.
No, I don't
remember
either.
too, Jeff.
I don't know
I
if
do
it's that
remember
valuable.
Yeah, and-
preserved.
Right, and it was the concept, well, if you frame it in some glare-free glass, it's preserved because it's an interesting link, but I don't remember anything on restoration.
Katie, do you remember it well enough to know if it was, its
I
value?
was just trying to look for the email. It's just a picture of a lady.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an old.
It's got a
gallery.
bunch of
It's
holes
really,
in there.
it's really interesting, and the story of how it was found.
Sure, I think if you can just get it in, if we can just put it in a simple frame. It just doesn't exactly like we just want to keep it small because it's, even though it's old, it doesn't necessarily relate to,
Right.
like if we put that on the wall in the museum, where's it going? What does it mean? I mean, I don't,
this
so
is-
it would be in the kitchen maybe because it's just a little random, so we
It's a
just
little
need to.
random,
Yeah, and it's kind of like, where would it have hung if it was in a house?
And it's rough too.
Yeah.
It's in rough
Yeah,
shape.
so
Yeah,
if you
so-
can get it to, or if you can get it to me, we can do something
Yeah.
basic.
Let's
I
do
think
that.
very basic, cheap
Yeah,
frame.
and it's
It
more
doesn't-
preserved than restored.
Yep.
Sure.
And then
We
make
could
sure that
also
the-
even just put it, we could just put it on foam core and just shrink wrap it, just plastic wrap it.
Yeah, it doesn't need
Yeah,
to
maybe
be.
Set it
got an
somewhere.
option in the future. if
Set
you
it
want to.
on, in like the kitchen by the, so I don't know if it's worth like,
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah.
So
it's
we can
old,
see-
but it's not terribly valuable.
Well, yeah.
Lindsay, you started to say
Do you
something?
have the, I guess, the story of how it was found and everything? You put stuff like that in the,
yeah, and that would make it.
Yeah.
like, software, or do you like tape it to the back of
Back.
the frame?
Yeah, we
or-
do that when we enter it into past perfect.
Yeah.
There's something taped to the back too, it'd be good for someone who's.
Yeah,
gonna
I was
go
gonna
down
say,
and burrow through the
if you don't know
computer and
past
say, hey,
perfect, and you're standing there going, what the heck is this again?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but just so that's recorded.
I think that'd be a good idea too.
Yeah.
I can take it.
Okay. I'll get back to him on that then. Historic walk dig confirmation. And, so what did it say, it's the 4th of May? Is that
Well,
what
first
you said,
Saturday is
Laura?
May 4th, yeah, typically it's, the first
May
Saturday.
4th,
May 4th?
yeah, slightly after 2 o'clock. Get your walking shoes on.
And there'll need to be a couple of us or whatever go up through what, day before or whatever and mark that site.
Put up the stakes the day before May 3rd.
Need Bob to go through first, check the snakes.
Then walk.
Remember out
Oh,
there.
you're the best guy.
Flavor.
See how high the grass is this year.
That might be a little light, a little more rain.
course.
Okay,
I have two other things if we're to the other.
okay, let's do those then.
This is just a side note, I just thought you guys would think this was interesting. We're doing all the art at the Erie Medical, a new Boulder Community Hospital medical building is being built in Erie.
Okay.
And the first floor, we're doing all historic photos and maps of Erie. So I've been working with Alan Wise at the Erie Historical Society, and it'll be neat. So they're really excited, the Historical Society. And so if you guys are ever in that area, we're doing just a whole wall collage and then a whole corridor of old photos of the Serene, one of, you know, the little town. Yeah. So that's all. Just thought you guys would think that was interesting.
Bob lived in Serene at one time.
Oh, yeah? Okay, well, you gotta go over there then and look at the photos. Yeah, it's a neat project, so. And the only other thing that I don't see on the agenda that we had talked about being on the agenda was that Shan thing that we have to respond by a certain time.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's funny, I was actually just gonna quick give an update on that. So, at this point, it's looking like, so OSAC would definitely like you guys to be responsible for coming up with a name recognition for that new trailhead. It's looking like at this point, construction will start up there probably around July. Thinking maybe take around a month and a half to complete that trailhead. Obviously, there's going to be like a 25-foot crusher fine trail connection to Meadowlark Trail there. So yeah, so we can put it on next month's agenda, but as far as having you guys brainstorm and come up with, you know, let's say like 5 names of 5 potential names for that new trailhead, maybe a reasoning for each, and then looking at maybe taking that to the board at the June board meeting, and you know, kind of take those recommendations, and they can make a decision on.
So they want us to make the proposals.
Yeah, OSAC would. I just talked with Allison James, and she just had an OSAC meeting, and they would like you guys to kind of head that, to come up with some suggestions. So.
Dig up all those names that came up with.
From Newtown, did they use any of those? I never.
Yeah, they did.
I go over there, but I never look at a street sign. Okay.
Mostly the old rail bed, they used that.
Okay.
Yeah, old railway. Yeah.
That was fun.
And I would also add the Cultural Arts and Public Spaces Committee is interested in putting art in at the trailhead that will go along with the trailhead name or whatever theme is chosen. So there is some need for coordination there as well.
Will the trailhead at Third Avenue be taken out?
It'd be the Denzel Ag Trail.
Yeah, you know, I'm sorry, I don't know for sure what's going to happen there. Obviously, from what I understand, the hope is that this new trailhead will try to divert, you know, some of that traffic, the parking, the people that park on the south end of town there.
Ms. Patrick's the one I need to chew on?
Yes.
Fine.
Yes, because I'll plead a little ignorance on that, unfortunately. So.
What was your question, Gladys?
I want to know if the trailhead at the Third Avenue was going to be taken out. And now I know who to chew on, so.
All right.
I want to ask Bob, how far east did the mine site go?
Far east?
Or was where the Shan trailhead, was that like farmland or was that part of the mine? Do you remember?
Right off McCaslin.
Yeah.
Well, the mine site basically ended about where the trail comes down from,
Okay.
Now, the boarding house was east of Meadowlark Trail, east of Third Avenue, because the Farming Foundation.
Meadowlark Trail, where is that?
Well, the Meadowlark Trail comes down the hill right at Third Avenue.
Comes down over the hill.
And the foundation from the old boarding house is east of that trail.
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, no.
Well,
West.
the foundation is there.
There's a foundation, but.
No, not west of the trail, it's east of the trail.
The boarding house is west.
Okay, but right now, where Meadowlark Trail comes down today,
I may have Meadowlark Trail in the wrong place then.
okay, it comes straight down the hill and right at the end of Third Avenue.
I thought the boarding house was on the other side of is it the superintendent?
Yeah.
So that foundation that's east of the Meadowlark Trail Ed Ambrose told me that was the boarding house.
No.
What
no.
was that?
No, the boarding house was west, and it was west of the Tipple.
Okay, so what is that foundation then that's there?
That was an old farmhouse there.
Okay.
Yeah, that was not the boarding house, no.
Okay. But
You look at all your pictures,
okay,
you'll
but,
see the boarding houses.
so that foundation that's there was an old farmhouse that
Yeah,
we
it was
lived
an
in?
old farmhouse, and it was empty when I lived there. I don't know who lived there to begin with. I really
Okay.
Okay, that helps. Thanks, Bob.
Okay, so next meeting, we'll come up with names,
Start brainstorming, yeah.
and then just come up with a document to send to them after that. Is that enough time? That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can be something over the next couple meetings, and then something where perhaps Larry can take to the board before construction starts, ideally.
Okay, final list of ideas by mid-March.
I was gonna, I don't know, if you have any of the ones we brainstormed for town center, but I'm pretty sure Alan Jarrett does, so. It might have someplace buried in my stuff too, but, anything else in the old
But is
business?
this
I'd like to revisit the.
So we're,
Yeah, you guys are fine.
Gentleman's name.
Yeah.
Oh, Ross?
Ross. I want to confirm, all's well that ended well with the birthday party, right? It all worked out, everyone it all ended well.
Yes.
But that the expectation is he will request through the town, and if he requests a museum, we're all happy to support as schedules allow, right? I think that's what we agreed to from the lessons learned previously.
Good point.
And if he is, but I'm not supportive of paying for travel for that.
Okay.
As a
No.
commission
Bring
budget.
that
well, not until we like know more information. I mean,
It's not one of our events.
Yeah.
If he wants to put out a bucket as part of his permit,
Absolutely.
if that's allowed, that's individual, but I don't think that's a historic commission place to play.
but we want
for
to
that.
support it if it fits with
Yeah.
historic.
I don't, but like I said, if he comes in through the permit and I'm around on the 18th, I'm happy to help the museum be open for a few hours. I think it's great, right?
Yeah.
I think the exhibit looks very interesting, right, all that. But I think we learned some things that could have really been the hard way. And we need to back off and really step through that this time.
Yeah, I saw it differently, Jill. I saw it, I thought how Katie greatly says, hey, we need more events. I thought, this is another event, we can get people there, And so I wouldn't mind paying some of the guys gasoline from Illinois. So.
Yeah, but then you start setting a precedent.
Well, let's just get more information
Yeah.
about who these people are, and
Yeah,
that's all. Just more information. Do they go all over? Is this kind of just like his friend?
coming for a trip.
You know, so I think we could maybe just say, tell us more, Ross, about it, and then we'll talk about how involved, right? I agree, though, I think it's a great opportunity to have another event.
But I can tell you, in the professional sense, when you pay for someone's travel, you get receipts and you pay for travel. I don't like just handing someone $100 and saying, here's gas money. It just, it feels like it crosses the line.
Yep.
And I'm all for supporting it with the opening, I'm all for supporting the permit, I'm all for putting out a bucket, but as a commission, if you want gas money, I'll buy you a $25 gas card to the Exxon here on the corner and keep it in Superior. But I don't want to give them $100, and I shouldn't be facetious, I'm on video, never mind. Enough said. But in going off and exploring, Colorado and all that it allows, right? I find that kitschy. So.
Looks like we're getting a lot of head nods. I mean, obviously, I think that the idea of having more events.
Yeah, I like the event.
Dovetailing with it is pretty good, yeah. Okay.
But I get real leery spending money outside of a town's travel policy and other things. So, and if I'm paranoid, tell me I'm paranoid, Brian. I'm happy to back off.
I guess I was thinking of it more like the honorarium, like we do the speaker, sort of in that more of a category. But You know, I'm not gonna fight anybody. As you say, more information.
Yeah, exactly. Nice that he came early enough that we can talk about it more times.
I like your notes.
I try to get everything on these two, but nobody else could read it.
Seems like there's something else. Anything else? Okay, then we are at the annual election of officers.
We haven't brought our campaign posters.
No. I guess the first thing to do is to open up for nominations. We haven't even done that part. So it's open for discussion. How do we want to approach this? We want to do, I guess I'd say, first of all, that the floor is open to nominations for the officers of secretary, vice chair, and chair. How am I doing? Because do we still elect the treasurer?
I mean, technically, it's just the chair and the vice chair, but,
Technically, it's just the chair and vice chair.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
and then you could do self-nominations as well, so.
You need a treasurer anymore. Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been around too much here lately, so I didn't know whether somebody else wanted to take it or not, but I'd be glad to.
Don't say take it around the treasury. We know you've been going to Belize a lot.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
There's gas money from Longmont down here.
That's right.
You gotta look at that.
Oh, that's those little deductions coming out. Okay.
Honestly,
Now we know.
transportation, putting Bob on the list is a high priority for me. Becomes-
We should do that.
We can just put them on Lyft, get them to and fro. I'll put the
Okay.
copper. I'll
Is there a nomination for vice chair? Who is nominated for vice chair?
I would be delighted to pass it to someone else.
I would say I would be delighted to nominate Mary for another term.
Is that an official nomination?
Well, it depends on if I guess I officially nominate, does she accept?
Does anyone would like to self-nominate or nominate someone else as vice chair?
It's not too onerous.
Here you. Is there a second to the nomination of Mary Cartwright to be
I
vice chair?
second.
Okay, yes, now we have discussion on Mary. Let's discuss Mary.
Mary's doing a
Shall I go out of the
fabulous
room
job.
like in second grade?
Nice job. Well, I guess all in favor of Mary Cartwright being vice chair of the Superior Historical Commission, say yay.
Yay.
Okay, are there nominations for chair of the Superior Historical Commission?
I'll nominate Larry.
I'll second that.
Oh, jeez.
Are you still willing? You certainly do a
That's the
wonderful job.
question, are you still willing?
Oh, sure.
If you're
We
willing.
lean-
I'll come along, so.
We lean on you a lot.
Yeah, but if anyone else wants to nominate him or herself, that's wide open.
Did we have a second to Larry? Is
I
that Mary?
second.
Oh, did you?
Oh,
Why you?
I'm nominated, I second.
okay.
Can you do that? Any other nominations for chair of the Superior Historical Commission? Okay, all in favor of Larry? Of course, you go get a self-examination sometime, it's psychological. All in favor of Larry Dorsey for chair of the Superior Historical Commission, say aye.
Aye.
With many thanks for all of you.
Yes.
So we lean on you.
That's okay. All right, any other business to be brought before this august organization?
Hey,
I have a quick one after we adjourn.
Okay?
Also, there's your video too, after we adjourn.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna do that too. Yeah, stick around if you wanna see my
Yeah.
PowerPoints, not videos.
I have a minor question. Brian, in the other committees, they don't have secretaries. Does my function continue here, or what do we do?
I mean, yeah, the code only recognizes, I mean, if you look at the code, it only recognizes chairs and vice chairs, but I think the people that take notes in the other committees are essentially the secretary, they just don't
Oh, okay.
call them that, you know,
Okay.
so. It's essentially the note taker. Now that gets passed along a little bit. Not the same person does the notes in some of the other committees, so, I mean, obviously with this group, it's usually you know, so. Whether you want to continue doing that or open it up to someone else, I mean, certainly you guys can have that discussion, but that doesn't need to be a motion for that position. So.
Well, I was just gonna say, I'm not trying to monopolize the secretaryship, so if somebody else wants to do some of that, they can. So, up to somebody.
You're doing a good job.
You do a great job, Karen. Anybody want to help or take over or whatever in the secretary department? Move into the secretary department.
Mary has done it in the past when we've been on trips.
Okay, Molly, get ready. Bob, Molly, get ready. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, meeting be adjourned.
I say it.
Well, I think there are consensus on that, so, will you stick around, Katie?
I'm not, no.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, do you mind running out? We can go get that real quick, or you want to set it up first?
Just,
Going
I